I want to welcome everybody to the show today because here's where we're at. Marshall has broken his computer. Now, when I say broken his computer, there's many of you out there, maybe you're watching on YouTube or wherever, or you're just listening to this. Marshall can't see anything. Now,
Nothing.
we can see him, we can hear him, but he dropped his laptop as we were working on something in the warehouse today and tried to catch it. Is that the story?
Did
Tried to
catch
catch it
it.
and hold on, did catch it. Did catch it. Okay, so he did catch it. And he's got a completely black screen. So I'm on the hook as a company now to buy him a new computer. So if you guys
Absolutely.
could please, we're going to start a GoFundMe, get a new computer. But anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. And Marty, catch us up on what's going on.
All right. So you're right. I mean, I was trying to do this like screen share and he wanted me to do something. I was like pressing these buttons and I was like, oh crap. Like, oh. As soon as I grabbed it, I looked at it. I was like, what? How did that happen? Is what it is, but let's go ahead and get into it. Enough sob stories about Tommy Tech. It is what it is. I do generally have a lot of issues in my life. Kind of just the way it goes, right? So here's the number one question I saw for the week. I actually thought it is just a perfect question for this moment. And I say, can anyone here name me one thing they offer that makes them unique in this industry? Oh, well, listen, I'm pretty unique. I mess things up all the time. Maybe that's what I offer. But no, it's a great question, right? Like, we should probably all start thinking about what makes us unique. Or what do you think? Is uniqueness just, hey, we clean cars?
I'll tell you what's unique in industries like this, and let's call them service-based, blue-collar type of industries, plumbing, contracting, detailing. There's some elbow grease in what we do. I think being on time is more unique than people think.
Good one.
Just had a situation, told a customer I'd fit him in here at the shop. He had a deadline. Meeting the deadline, when you give your word, it's not always possible. Sometimes the bigger services you run over. I know the PPF guys out there, tent guys, you know what I'm talking about. But man, if you can just keep your word and do things in a timely, what you promise somebody, I don't think the average person knows how unique that part of it is. And I'll tell anybody this. The only thing that really I ever did in this business, 15 years now in business for myself, is I showed up on time.
There you go.
And I feel like that just the doing a good job and the great skills and all this stuff that we talk about, a lot of guys fumble it by not actually keeping their word and being where they say they're going to be. So your skills don't even matter. So getting that is probably the most unique thing people don't think about.
That was perfect. That is number one. I'd say number two would be something you've talked about where you go, hey, listen, you become a specialist and you become, kind of the guy and you become the top guy around if you know how to handle problems once they occur.
That's true.
And that would be the next thing I would say is because we had a new van we purchased, not new, but new to us, put into the wife's cleaning business. And she's decided, which I told you, right? She wanted this rap. She thinks that, you pull up to a stoplight and people are going to see it and they're going to just call you. I'm like, well, I don't know if those are the people you really want calling you, but okay, we'll let you do you.
All right.
Let you go ahead. And so, we got this wrap minimally designed now. I got, stuff really. The communication with the installer, whether it was you mentioned time, showed up late to the meeting.
Yep.
Right. Then the communication back and forth. I had to tell him one time, I'm like, listen, man, you're talking a lot at me. We've got this problem that's happened now. You chose to do it this way. It was different than what we thought we were getting as a customer. And now we're trying to talk to you about our issue and you're talking at me. You're telling me, like, whoa, my guy, we're a customer. We have an issue. We're going to pay you. We got to talk through this. And there's the one. It's like, I wonder if that's the next one to make somebody so unique is once somebody has an issue, how you handle it with the customer.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think one of the things you can kind of look at, as, probably just across business as a whole, doesn't even have to be our business. You actually know a little bit about the work he was doing, and it was still a bad experience.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine, you just started up your company. You've never even gotten a wrap. You don't know what a wrap is. You call this guy, he's late. Then you think you're getting something. You don't get it. Then you have a disagreement. Look, I think we're all bad at this stuff naturally. That's the other thing is I think a lot of people go, well, I'm good at it and that guy's not good at it. Look, man, I wasn't good at it when I started. I had to go through my mistakes and I had to learn from them. The issue is the second part of what I said. When you're not good at something like customer communication, you then have to put the time in and be honest with yourself that you aren't good at it. And that's where the breakdown always comes in my opinion, is that I'm here to tell everybody, no one comes out of the womb great at it. Okay. It's the men and women that put the time in and also admit to themselves, hey, I got a weakness. I got to fix this, and then go about fixing it. And that's how it happens. I mean, nobody's
How do you fix
perfect
it?
at it. I think a lot of it is thinking about what that customer is actually trying to say, not the words that they're always saying, but listening to the words and understanding this person has a point of view. That doesn't mean that they're right or wrong. It's a point of view, right? A lot of guys get defensive because they want to think they're perfect at whatever they do.
Very
Okay. I
true.
got news for you, man. You're going to mess up a car.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to mess up a lot of cars if you do enough work. Some people won't have that issue. They don't do enough work. You do a lot of work, you're going to mess up a lot of things compared to the average person. Whether that's your team, you personally, whatever, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to burn paint. You're going to knife up a car because you don't know exactly what you're doing with a PPF knife. You're going to scratch glass if you're a tinter. Things are going to happen. But you also have to admit to yourself that you're not as good as you think you are. And that things are going to happen. And then it's like, hey, man, I'm going to make it right. And if you always come out with it, I'm going to make whatever happens right. This is why undercharging for your services comes back to haunt people.
Oh, good.
Okay. Because when you drop a $4,500 headlight, which I have done myself when I was PPFing a car, you better have the $4,500 or pay your deductible through your insurance, which your insurance is going to go up through the roof. So let me tell you what you want. You want the $4,500 to go buy the headlight. You go buy the headlight and nobody misses a beat. You call your customer, you say, I dropped the headlight. We have one on the way. It's going to need your car for an extra day. I apologize. Cool, man. I've solved the problem. But at the end of it, your question is, how do you get better at it? You have to admit you have a problem. And then you got to go find people that, it's a podcast or social media wise that are strictly just about customer relationships, not somebody who's trying to give you all the business advice in the world.
And I think this is the problem that maybe a self-employed to business owner struggles with, right? A self-employed person wants to just figure it out themselves. Well, do you think there's actually got to be a point where you start to hire people and bring team members, whether it's, W-4 type, is it W-4, W-9, whatever
W-2.
Is it that style or is it contractor style? I don't know, but maybe you ought to bring somebody in to help your weaknesses where you're not great at.
Yeah. And it's a good point. And I think everybody, listening to this, I think it's just admitting like, hey man, I got stuff I need to work on.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. I mean, and you and I have been on some phone calls with people that are in this profession that we got off and we were astonished at the level of ego about their skill and everyone else around them sucks and nobody's doing good work but me. Those people are going to struggle. This business chews up and spits out more detailers every year than the year before because it gets more popular, more people fail. More popular, more people fail. There's never been more information. There's never been more social media posts. There's never been more people training people. Yet the failure rate is always going to be the failure rate, and just a larger number of people, because of the numbers bigger, are going to fail. And it starts with your skills are really second, third, fourth on the list to what the consumer really cares about.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk about how great you are with a polisher, man. I think that's awesome. I think that the people that's their whole life, great for you. 99% of customers don't care about that. They don't want their car messed up. Let's be honest. They want competent work. but they also want you to step up when you make a mistake. They also want you to be on time. They also want you to explain your pricing and why it is the way that it is. Those things come long before your work. And I just think you have to admit, hey, man, I got to work on some things. And I certainly had to do that.
Well, one thing that I know a lot of us are going to work on now that we've got the abrasives out there, they're going to work on paint. They're going to think, well, do I need to cut? Do I need to polish this? Do I need to one step it? Right? Do I need to use Fuego? Should I use a clay bar? Let's start with water spots. Okay? We see water spots on paint. This is where some people start to question, what do I need to go do? When do I use our abrasives to go after water spots? And when do I use something else?
I got to tell you, I might be the wrong guy to ask because I've told you my idea on water spots. Uh, I I see water spots, man. I try some acid to get them off, and if it doesn't come off right away, boy, I'm not trying much else. I'm reaching for the polish, the compound, the one step, whatever I feel like I got to use to get it off. So I've always had that mindset. And look, for all of you that don't know, I've detailed in the Midwest, on the East Coast, on the West Coast here, and now in Las Vegas. I've seen my share of water spots from different places and what it means. I guess I just came from a school of is like, don't waste your time. If the acid doesn't take it, get the polisher out, go to work, don't waste any more time. That's sort of my mindset even today.
All right. So there's water spots. You got this other one. This is a specific one that was a question I saw. Said he tried iron remover with somebody else's on a car today. Didn't feel like it did much. Any other suggestions? Would clay bar work on these iron spots or should I go to compound? Right. So you see
Well,
the little dots. It's a white car, a light car, and you go, hey, let me throw some Fuego, or should I clay bar it? Or should I use compound to get that out?
yeah. So first, what I find is when people have a problem, it's probably like rust spots, that are, whether it was flung off the brake or whatever, got embedded, or actually it's a true rust spot and they got a different story. But I find that people don't use enough iron remover when they see something on their paint.
Oh,
You
couple
know,
sprays of panel and call it good.
yeah, and I go, hey man, if I got real iron concerns, I'm laying it on
Mm-hmm.
because I want all of and again for people that have listened to us a long time, I'm a huge advocate of if I roll up on a bad tire and that tire's really beat and it hasn't been cleaned in a while, I'm not using TRX 4-to-1. I'm at 1-to-1. Let's go. Let's get it on there. Let's break this thing down. It hasn't been cleaned in a while. Well maintained, I'm going to handle it differently. So out here, unless I get something out of Los Angeles, Southern California for me, which has a lot of industrial fallout, we don't deal with a ton of that here in Vegas. Okay. So I don't have a ton of rust concerns or iron concerns, so to speak. So I lay it on a certain way. But if I lived somewhere or I saw something on my white car and I had concerns, you better believe I'm laying Fuego on pretty thick. And I think that's the first mistake people make when I see things, whether it's an internet post or somebody asks me a question. I go, well, did you lay it on thick? Well, no. Okay, well, why don't we try that? Then they try that and you go, oh, yeah, that got it out. You go, okay, well, great. That's exactly what we wanted. So if it sticks around, obviously it's clay bar, so it'd be Fuego, clay bar into holding the polisher. That would always be least aggressive to most aggressive, basically.
All right. So this next question I saw, I kind of chuckled a little bit because I felt for the guy, right? It's supposed to, he shows his steamer, he's got his bucket, he's got some stuff sitting out to the side. It's on a driveway. There's a car there, but we don't really know whose it is. And he goes, first time I've showed up for a detail and the client didn't answer their phone nor the door. I'm going to wait about 10 to 15 minutes and try again. After that, I'm gone.
Been there.
Been there too. And I just go, 2025, I didn't know that was still happening. Right? Like I was there 15 years ago,
Yeah.
10 years ago even, but I didn't know in 2025 this happened with the amount of technology that you can have with customers and getting people to book things. Or, there's that whole discussion. So many people go, well, take a deposit. I I never took deposits. Are you a deposit guy?
Yeah, well, we take deposits on unknown clientele. So I don't take deposits from clientele we have a relationship with. I mean, it's pretty unnecessary. We have a pretty good system. We know who's who. Look, and I'll say this to people, if I do work for somebody one time and my guys or I don't get a great vibe from them, there's not going to be a second time. That's just not what we're going to do. So I have a different scenario, I guess, 15 years into business than probably most people. But I think there's a couple things here that I could share. Everyone lives in a different area. And I can tell you, the bigger the city, you don't know your neighbor, those types of things. I'd be 100% deposit, especially for guys doing a lot of one-off work. There's a lot of detailers when you're getting your start. You don't have a lot of, you know, repeat clientele yet. I'd get very comfortable charging a deposit, even if it's $100. Okay, on a $500 service or $100 on a $10,000 or $1,000 service. I want people to understand. At least it covers your gas. At least it doesn't put you behind the eight ball on the expenses you had getting out there and missing on appointments. I would kind of tell people what we do with unknown clientele, that let's say book a service and the service is going to be, $1,500. I take 50%.
Hmm.
So
What
especially
about
like
just
something
like
on,
a $200 detail?
yeah, I mean, then I would tell people, I think, whether you charge $50, you charge $100, you got to charge something. I
Hmm.
think you're right. With all the technology, it seems like you shouldn't have this happen. But if somebody ghosts you, they ghost you. Whether it was back in the day when cell phones weren't as popular, you knock on their door and they just wouldn't answer the door, or they weren't home, or they forgot. Lessons learned. I don't think anybody should be detailing cars, especially as a beginner, and not learning how to charge a deposit, because I
Hmm.
think the burn rate goes up a lot higher than people think. There's a lot more knuckleheads. There's just a larger population now. I just think you save yourself a lot of time if you just learn how to talk to customers about a deposit now, and it sets you up for success later on.
Now that learn to talk has to be because when you said it, I just started thinking in my mind like, okay, well, what would I say? Like, all right, well, ma'am, I'm going to need to charge you a service hold, a fee
No,
to serve your
yeah,
place.
no,
Like it
it's
just
easy.
seems odd. It almost like a stumbling block to get them to go ahead and book.
Yeah, so I would tell people this: look, we have a lot of requests for our time,
Hmm.
and we want to make sure that we set aside enough time for your detail, and your time is your time. And so to hold your place, to make sure we don't schedule anybody at that time, we take a deposit. That's all that I say, is because other people, and if they question, I go, hey, I'm going to get another 3 or 4 phone calls today that are looking for the exact time that we're booking you into. So if I come to your home or something happens and you're not there, then I have 3 or 4 other clients that would have wished to book at that time. So it's just a way to save your place, make sure that we're honorable and we're going to be there when we say we're going to be there. And it's just a way to hold the whole business transaction accountable. I don't have a problem. Look, people get, and I want to preface this, I guess, what you're trying to do. There's going to be people that get shitty about it. I mean, you need to understand that. Also, you got to understand that those people would have missed the appointment.
Yeah, good
And you got
point.
to do your best to maneuver and calm them down and get them to understand your point of view. And you got to be kind of, you know, uh, really good at speaking. But if somebody really has a problem paying $100 to hold their place, and it goes to the service, it's not like I'm going to charge you $100 deposit and then $200 for the service. I'm charging you half the service, or I'm charging you 10% of the service, or whatever number you come up with, and that goes to your service. I mean, it's just going to be taken off your bill. It's not like you're getting charged extra or anything like that. I find that reasonable people don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, good point. All right, so when I see these posting groups and they say, "Hey, I want to know the best," fill in the blank. It's always a great one, right? Here they go, best wheel cleaner, looking for something new, not happy with blank blank, right? Like So whatever it is they were using, and it looks to be that, traditional cheap high pH degreaser. Let's just call it what it is. That they grab at, whether it's the parts store or this company that started to compete against those people in the parts stores, right? They're trying to make the cheapest wheel cleaner possible. So he's tired of using cheap, wants to know the best wheel cleaner. And I want to ask this question back against best and go, Nick, how do we decide when it is we need to use TRX, or when is it we go, man, this wheel's going to need Fuego?
Yeah, so I just had this. Our personal vehicle, my family drives every day. It's been a while since we got it here in the shop for some love. Probably 6-8 weeks. Truthfully, we've had some bad weather. I look at the wheel, and that wheel looks beat up. Fuego's going down. I just look at the dirtiness of the wheel. Like
So yeah,
if
when you
it
say beat up, not like gouges or
no. What it is it's got a level of caked on dirt, brake dust, everything like that. And I go, I'm going to lay Fuego first. But if anybody's gone to our YouTube video, they know my move, especially dealing out in the heat. We do wash and prep cars out here outside, even if it's at the shop. Is I lay a thick layer of Fuego on a beat up wheel, let it kind of eat for a few seconds, 20, 30 seconds if I can. If it's too hot, I can't let it sit that long. I take TRX, put it on the tire. Then I take TRX in a foam cannon, lay it over, put it in the wheel wells all over the wheel. Gives me more work time, leaves more cleaner on. Then I go in with my wheel brushes. That's always been a nice, easy way for me to clean wheels. But, look, if you're maintaining your vehicle, let's just say weekly, let's just talk to the people out there that do things weekly at their house. Do you need Fuego? I'd probably do Fuego once a month, just to kind of get anything that might have gotten embedded in my wheel, in the barrel of my wheel, that kind of thing. But that's well maintained. You're going 3, 4, 5 weeks in between a clean. I'm sure your wheel's going to look pretty bad.
mm-hmm.
Go ahead and lay
Yeah.
some Fuego down,
Mm-hmm.
then lay some TRX on your tire, then do what we show on our YouTube channel. Get the foam cannon out, spray some TRX up into the wheel wells and all over the wheel and the tire, and just give yourself a longer working time. It's more enjoyable. But yeah, man, anytime I see really, really, and I don't want to use the word neglected because people think that means 6 months. Man, you really drive something every day. You get 4 weeks out, it looks pretty neglected. I mean, it doesn't look like a detailed wheel, and you now have to start thinking about laying Fuego down.
So you said, hey, out in the sun, I put Fuego as long as I can. But walk that out a little bit more. I think some people might, because we would, back in the day, if we were using a hot product or something that was unsafe, we would know that time limit. I left it on as long as I could before it caused damage. I think some
Yeah.
people, when they hear that, they go, oh, so what was Fuego going to do if you left it on
Yeah,
there?
I mean, look, you got to realize that it doesn't even matter if it's a pH neutral soap. I don't love anything drying on the car. Okay, I don't care if it's a wheel, if it's paint, if it's glass. I don't care if it's pH neutral, high alkaline, acidic. I don't care. I don't let things dry on the car. Okay, at all costs. So one of the things, if you're working in the sun, you could do, and it's going to dilute your cleaner a little bit, is you can give the wheel a pre-rinse just with water, cool the surface down, cool everything down. But to your point about what I sit there and I watch it. I mean, you can watch something drying. I mean, I know it's boring, but you can sit there and pay attention. So had one of my guys here helping me, and I literally told him, I said, hey, it's getting to 108, 109 out here. It's hot. So I said, hey, normally we would go ahead and do 4 wheels at a time with 2 guys. Like we can make that happen but I said, it's too hot. We just worked one side of the car. There's 2 people there. I mean, so if it's one person, you sit there and you watch one wheel and then that's what you do. Like there is not a scientific procedure here. You literally watch what the chemical is doing. And you and I've talked about this a lot, even on the YouTube channel, working together. A lot of us put on headphones and we get in kind of a daze or a relaxation when we're detailing.
Mm-hmm.
When it's hot outside and you do have to detail in the sun, there's some of us that need to take the earbuds out and pay attention. And look, I'm guilty of it. Okay. I'm as guilty as anybody. I've been doing this a very long time. I put a podcast on or some music I like, and I'm just zoned out. When you're using a wheel cleaner and you are worried, or you're using something on your paint and you're worried because it's hot outside and you're outside, the Nick move is sometimes I got to take my earbuds out and go, I got to pay attention here. Got a lot going on. I don't want to screw something up. That's a little tip because it affects me. I'm just speaking from experience. Like, it
Mhm.
affects me.
So one question that we see quite a bit inside of groups, they want to know people's setups, right? Like, what's your van look like? Hey, what does the back of your truck look like? Hey, let me see this. I saw this question. I thought it was interesting. I had not seen it before in any other groups because it's usually around that, right? Or what size water tank do you have? Or there's people that will post, hey, I'm trying to get the water to come out of my holding tank, and it's not getting primed, I guess, for my pump, right? We've seen that where their pump didn't have enough suction to get the water out of the tank. I saw this post. I was wondering, since you specifically talked about heat, have you ever had to deal with what does the inside of your water tank look like? So this
Yep.
guy said he's got a 100-gallon water tank. How do you guys clean yours? Edit the inside of the tank, right? Because apparently he's got some issues. There's maybe something growing. I'm not
Algae.
sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I
My
mean,
water was being used on a regular. I never had anything grow. I didn't
yeah,
ever
agreed.
touch the inside of my tank.
Agreed. We don't, we've had it, I think, probably twice in 15 years where we had, and that crew was doing a lot of rinseless. So they had water sitting in their tank, and they were doing a lot of collection work, and, only pulling 5 gallons at a time into kegs and things like that. And so in a 100-gallon tank, we had a week where something sprouted up. I mean, maybe once or twice. It's pretty easy, man. With your tank full of water, dump a gallon of bleach in there, let it sit
Oh,
in there, and then just unload, not through your pressure washer. Just there should be a plug somewhere where your hose and everything picks up. Just go ahead and rip it out. Your feeder tube, doesn't matter. Just rip it out, unload the whole tank, and call it a day. That's all that I did. At the end of it, you're like us. I mean, if you have algae growing in your tank, and it's a real issue, you're not detailing enough cars, and you got too much
mhm.
water in there, and it's allowed to sit in the heat, and cooling a little bit at night and then heat again and all that kind of stuff. If that's happening, you got to really look at, am I putting too much water in my water tank every time I fill up and I'm not using it? But in the summer, if you're not cycling through your tank, you probably have a little bit of a business issue there.
Yeah, good point. All right. So speaking of summer, there's definitely, and you mentioned, wheels, doing half of a vehicle, and just doing parts of the car because you don't want stuff to dry. This was a question I saw inside of a group. Said, does more foam mean it won't dry on the paint as easily? If so, what is the best foam cannon and soap setup? It's like, does more foam mean it won't dry on the paint as easily? I would say it was opposite. More foam means it would dry faster because
Yeah.
it's creating that openness, I guess.
Yeah.
If you didn't have as much foam, you would get it more to sit and stay wet on the surface. But once that foam lifts it, you create more dryness.
Yeah, what I tell people is, I mean, and this is what we're dealing with here at the shop at times, and my guys deal with it all the time. Sometimes it's okay to kind of keep the foam on you or near you, and when things start to dry, shoot more soap onto the surface.
Okay.
So, what a lot of guys do is they shoot the whole car, and then they take their time putting the hose back, somewhere on their truck or their van or their trailer, and then they kind of walk a little slowly around the car, and they don't have their process dialed in, and all of a sudden it's like everything's dry. It's okay, man, to keep that foam cannon near you and just go ahead and re-wet that area that starts to dry. There's guys that just don't use, at times, common sense. You start to see things dry, man, just re-wet the area. Just keep things on you, not put it back in the back of your truck or your van or your trailer, and then all this kind of stuff. instead of worrying about finding the foam that's going to fix your issue that's not fixable because the sun is going to win, the heat is going to win, just go ahead and keep re-wetting the area. So if you look at, we have a large family SUV. Me and my guy are working on it. While he started on the top and one side, I'd already foamed the whole car. He'd already started. I gave him a heads up. I said, heads up, man, going to refoam this side is in the direct sun. And that's what we did. So by the time I started to do the side in the sun, I had re-wet it twice just because I had enough in the foam cannon anyway. We always have extra in the foam cannon. I just laid a second layer on because things started to break down, whatever, and then we just went to work. And we didn't have anything dry, and the whole car was soaked down, and half of it was in a real hot sun. Nothing happened. So sometimes it's just about taking a step back and going, "What's the common sense play here?" It's to put the soap back on the surface.
Yeah, good point. Just using the foam cannon. Have you ever done, I guess what I was thinking of, sometimes we talked about Fuego earlier, right? Like if you're spraying Fuego and you got it all over the car and you got to let it sit, but you're out in the heat, and you're like, well, I can't let it sit too. Well, my move was I'd take 10 feet back and
Yeah,
just
the
kind of like
mist.
let that power washer mist like kind
Yep.
of just float all over that side of the car,
Yep.
not a direct, 3 or 4 feet, but more like 10 feet away. I just
Yep.
want mist. When you're
Yeah, and
talking
we,
about
we
wetting,
we've
I
talked
just
to
need
we've
more
talked to a
wetting.
lot of people. Like let's say something here that is kind of inconvenient to say. Some guys got to pick up the pace. Look, man, on Instagram and the shade and a shop where you can do all these, I'm taking my time. That stuff's wonderful. In the wintertime, we all know that, when it gets to fall time, you can take your time. Man, when you're in summer and you're, whether you're washing in your driveway and trying to race the sun or whatever it is you're having to do, sometimes it's about picking up the pace.
Mm.
And I find that's a real hard thing to teach. It's hard to teach when you are hiring people, but it's also hard to teach right now over a podcast what really moving looks like. And that's why if your process is a little out of sorts, you don't move as fast as you think, right? Like I know guys that if you use our towel method, you can wash a car pretty quick, whether it's rinseless or with soap. But you got to know I'm ready to flip. I'm ready to flip. So think about all these guys walking back to a rinse bucket, rinsing their pad off, then putting it into soap again. You're not going to beat the sun. In our method, you're going to beat the sun every time if you know how to move. It's that simple.
Yeah. So I was talking with Sean earlier, and he was talking about this guy that posted, and he does a car in 18 minutes. And
I
we were
love
talking
it.
about maintenance, and you're like, you and I have talked about, we don't think anybody, one reason why we don't think people succeed at maintenance is, in a sense, what you were talking about. People are moving too slow. They got too
Yep.
much going on. They're trying to figure things out. Like, well, I can't do 18 minutes.
18 minutes
To
is pretty
That's pretty quick.
is that a wash?
I don't know the actual channel, but I guess the guy was trying to educate people, and he did a full like, let me start this, and then walked people through how he got done in 18 minutes on
Yeah,
a
no, you
rover.
you can get the outside of a car done. I mean, my guys do it in faster than 18 minutes probably. But you also have to remember what result are you trying to get. It's going to be hard to
That's a
get
great
all the
point.
water out of every crack and crevice in
Mm-hmm.
18 minutes. Then lay down something like slick, properly and making sure you're getting the paint protected in a drying aid or just a final application. There's ways to do it. I mean, you can absolutely just do a wash and take a towel and dry it, and if the mirrors drip and the back end drips, you don't care because that's not what you're selling to people or that's not what you care about on your own car. You can get it done in 18 minutes for sure. But again, you can do something high quality in 22 to 25 minutes. Okay. And that's getting all the cracks blown out, making sure the water's not running down and all that kind of stuff. And look, we do door jams every time. We do all that kind of stuff on maintenance. And my guys for full maintenance inside and out, 2-man team is about 30 minutes, 32 minutes. I mean, that's where we want to be.
Well, all right. So Rob and you guys over the Clutch Culture. Rob's not a big Thunderbird fan. I remember that from when we were chatting a while ago. I saw this post, and it's a Thunderbird that has, it says, what's the best way to clean this ribbed anodized aluminum, right? That inside. Is there any way to remove the color and make just the aluminum that would look even better? What are your
Have you done
thoughts?
a lot of aluminum?
I haven't.
I haven't either.
I haven't
I
either.
haven't either. I mean, look, it's. I mean, people are polishing them up. I mean, that's his answer, right? I mean, he's gonna have to put a polisher and some metal polish together. I mean, that's the answer. And look, I can tell you this: for things that need metal polishing, semis, wheels on different people's stuff. I'll tell you one of the crazy things. Have you ever seen a crowd that wants to avoid what they know they have to do more? It's like you already know what the answer is, dude. It's going to have to be polished. What do you want me to tell you? I mean,
All right. So based on that, this next one was cleaning my personal car that turned into my detailing rig. Advice on how to remove this. And it's these stains. And he's like, it's 25 years. Degreaser and steamer won't cut it. To your point, guy, we know what the answer is. You got to pull that out. That carpet's toast. Like,
yeah,
it's
you let the
toast.
stain sit for 25 years, dude. Like it is what it is. Now, you got to give your best effort. Grab some enzyme, grab some complete, a steamer. Look, man, extractors, heated extractors, especially in those types of situations, are probably a necessity to get where you want to go. But I mean, this is kind of what we see, not only from car owners and you guys out there that are professionals, but you prosumer guys, those DIY guys doing it in their driveway. I want to say this, like, there's certain things the answer to, you just don't want to do it.
Hmm.
And or maybe you don't have the capability. Like you say, hey, I don't have a hot water extractor that might get that 25-year stain out. Cool. Then that's your answer. I got news for you. There's plenty of times you and I have run up on a scratch and had to look at the person and go, that's going to the body shop, dude. That's not what I mean. We're not going to be able to safely do that. Some of this stuff in the car world and things you're going to run up on, you're going to have to look at yourself if it's your car, or you're going to have to look at someone else if it's their car and go, that ain't fixable by just simply cleaning it up or grabbing a rotary. That's going to the body shop, or that's a permanent thing in your car. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the cool parts about sort of where we're at with social media, where we're at with, detailing, and the overall emergence of combining everybody together. And let me keep talking about what I mean. This post is of a F-250. It's a nice truck. He's got a little lift on it. It's dark. Looks like that like dark. Was it like a dark green, like a real deep? I think
Yeah, I like
F-150
that.
has that.
Yeah, I just had
Or
a
like a
Range Rover in here that was deep green. It was nice.
He's got some nice wheels. It's got probably like a 3 or 4 inch lift on it. It's nice. It's a nice truck. He's got some runners down at the bottom. But he said his truck developed an oil leak. Okay. And he's a mechanic. Great. He's going to be able to fix it. Well, he's in social, in a group, asking, all right, what do I need to use to get the old oil off of my engine so that I can look and find the leak? And you go, man, that's a great question, because this isn't somebody that's,
Yeah.
this is, he's now coming into our orbit in a sense and
Yeah.
going, hey guys, you detailers, all right, what do I need to use?
Yeah, I mean, look, if it's on the parts of the engine, you and I know a lot of those mechanics are going to be spraying a lot of brake cleaner. There's going to be a lot of brake cleaner getting that oil off. But look, that's where I would say to somebody like him, and to those of you out there that run into this, I mean, I'm TRX 1-to-1, 2-to-1, putting it everywhere. You're probably getting some rags that are going to be thrown away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They're not going to be reused. We're not going to be trying to figure out on the next post, how do I save these, 10 rags I had to burn, cleaning up my engine. Then there's also this other thing called steam. You really want to clean up an engine if it's really that bad. And they use them at mechanic shops all the time, as you'd steam that off. So most likely you're looking at brake cleaner, TRX, and a steamer to really get your engine back to where you want to get it to.
I think one of the next questions people would go is, do I need to get the gallon of TRX, or if I just want to do my engine, can I just get the 16? You go, you can. At a 1 to 3, that 16, it'll clean. It'll clean the engine. You bet.
Oh yeah.
Is it going to clean like the guy that maybe 25 years of caked on? You might need to do that full strength out of the gallon, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, we have this conversation a lot, and I know everybody at times is trying to figure out if they like something or not. But when you're talking about a product like TRX, it's so multi-use that I promise, get the gallon, dilute it to the need that you're looking at. Far too often when I am sent posts from groups, and it doesn't matter if it's something like a product like TRX, or, I see this a lot with interior cleaners. I see it a lot with all kinds of different things. You want to be able to control when the product is dilutable. You want to be able to control the dilution ratios. That's the positive of a product like TRX. Getting the 16 ounce and trying it on some of your tires, I understand that. It's pretty inexpensive for what kind of product it is. You're going to get so much out of 1 gallon of TRX, literally so many uses once you start diluting it. And you look at the price tag and you go, it's a no-brainer to grab the gallon. That's the way I've always been long before I ever owned, hyperCLEAN with you. I always just bought a gallon of something. Like, that was the nature of the beast. And largely, it wasn't really offered to me many other ways at times in my career. I mean, there were sometimes in my career, there was no getting a smaller, like the gallon was the small one. You were either getting a 5-gallon or a gallon. So the gallon was the trial version. I think with products like TRX, products like Revive, I mean, even if you just own 2 cars, Revive's going to last you, man. Like, it's a nice, safe interior cleaner that can cut through grime and cut through, suntan lotion and, body lotion and things like that. Like, you're going to find use for it. Get the gallon. I mean, I really implore people. The 16 is our trial version. I think a lot of times people do themselves a disservice by not getting the full experience multiple times to see how something really, really works with what they're trying to do.
It's like having options, but then going, listen, your options really should be this, right? Like,
Yeah,
just get
that's
this.
true.
Now, the opposite for us, the flip of the coin, is as we've released the abrasives, we're now going to go, listen, we're not going to tell you specifically what you need to use as far as a pad, because it was actually inside of a conversation you and I had earlier. Like, maybe we shouldn't be so specific of just only a couple pads, but offer a variety of pads so people can take their choice and go pick this when they want to do it for
Yep.
that. When they want to use this, I can do it for this. What you will find out of the pads we offer is you're going to find something that this guy didn't find. The next one, just curious, how well are those Harbor Freight pads holding up? I don't mind saying Harbor Freight because we all
Yeah.
know what Harbor Freight is, right? Like,
Yeah.
so it didn't go after somebody in our industry, but we know there's pad companies that are notorious for not holding up, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's the glue that they've used on the adhesive, whether that's the gosh, we can all, well, not all of us, but some of us can remember, that hook and loop. Some hook and loop was good and it just hit. Well, it was
Yep.
too good and you had to like yank it. And then
Yeah.
like while you're pulling the foam rips off, you're like, damn. Then there was some hook and loop, like you put the hook and loop on and then you go to polish and then like it flies off because the hook and loop wasn't any good.
Yeah.
I think what you will find when we do release our pads, by the amount of homework and stuff you have been doing with these pads, you're going to find you're not going to have those type of issues. It's going to be
Yeah.
more of, how do I pick which one meets this paint?
Yeah. And the big thing for me is, I want people to know this. I mean, we've been down the road of, what it looks like to make our own pad lineup. And let's be honest, there's only a few companies making pads. So at the end of the day, I mean, we're just gonna partner with a high quality company that we know stands behind what they're doing, and probably not brand things hyperCLEAN. I don't know that it's really worth it, because again, we've kind of adopted this philosophy with our community is, we really want things that we can make, to be our concentration at HQ. And, so there's a lot of things that we've been through in the last year that I can tell you we've gone down every road. Do we have somebody make pads and then we stamp our name on them. What I think is it's more beneficial to all of our people and to us as a company to go, who's making the best pads and what pads do we like from them? I think that's important, because I think all this private labeling of pads, look, man, there's only a certain number of foams you can choose from. They just change the color of them. And I don't have any issue with that. And we talked about them, but I'd rather have a company that stands behind what they do and that we can, hook into and go, we really like this setup of pads. And look, man, we're probably going to have a heavier cut pad than a lighter cut pad, and then a couple foam options. And again, because if you really do this and you've done it as long as you and I've done, you're going to run up on things that you want options. So I see these 1 and 2 pad solutions that are out there, and I go, there's no way. There's no way you're going to get the finish that you think you're going to get, because I can put you on a car right now that I can look at your system and go, no chance that works on that. There's no way. I don't care what you say. I want to see it in person. Let's really put the light on it. Let's really put some eyes on it to know what they're looking at. So I think in our pad choices, not in our pad lineup, our pad choices are going to be like, hey guys, here's a reputable brand. We've gone this route. Here's what we like from them. Go ahead and use it with our system.
Okay, so when we're talking, I need to see it, right? This is the funny part, because people are like, hey, I want to watch a video of you polishing paint so I can see it. And, we've gone back and forth, but it is what people like. They just need to see putting a product on a pad, putting it on the paint, and seeing the finish. Now, a part of seeing finish that not all of us quite really believe on social media, right? Not about polishing paint. It becomes into, well, there's a reason I bought my Jeep. A, I wanted 4 doors, not 2. Mm-hmm. And then B, I wanted painted fenders and not plastic fenders.
Yes.
So I was very specific on what I wanted. This is a picture, and we've all seen it, and it's a red Jeep. And then these black fenders are now not just lightly gray, they are almost white.
Oh, somebody sent this to me. Somebody sent this to me.
It says, I recently detailed a Jeep Cherokee.
No, Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah, but inside, no, you're right.
Yeah, no, he just missed.
But he missaid it, right? Like inside of his post, he said a Cherokee.
But here's the deal:
that
some Cherokees do have plastic, so it could have been a Cherokee, I guess.
True. And he encountered an issue with the fender trim. Said he tried all the usuals, listed them off, and a few other products on hand. Right? Nothing seemed to adhere or restore the finish properly. So he's reaching out. Right? We don't need to keep going.
I can tell you the number one reason. I said this if you go look at our Jeep Wrangler video with the trim restoration, the biggest thing I see now, and there's some consumer brands in Walmart and the auto parts stores that are doing this dye plus ceramic, whether it's a wipe, whether, it's drip out of a bottle onto an applicator. Man, those seem cool. But the problem is when they don't take, they've now laid ceramic on that plastic and it cannot be re-dyed. So he's specifically saying he's watching things not adhere, which means something has been put on those plastics prior to him, or maybe by him and he doesn't want to say it. I mean, I'm sure both could be possible. There's too many people that are selling products that are dye and ceramic in the same bottle. That stuff all works until it doesn't. And then the minute it doesn't, you're replacing all the plastic on the vehicle you just did. So if you go watch our Wrangler video, I want people to really specifically one part. The 4 fenders were not baked like the front bumper, which was plastic. And I say on the video, I don't really need to re-dye these fenders, but I got the dye out, so I'm going to do it because I know I can see the fading coming. Okay, it's not completely baked out, and our ceramic would have done fine. But why not reintroduce dye now? Because I'm going to be laying a ceramic over top, and I don't want to see this degrade anymore because it's not going to be able to be re-dyed after this. That is exactly the reason that I shared the process I shared. All of this dye in a bottle with a ceramic, when things are in okay shape, that's going to work. The minute you get things in past the medium and now they're starting to really degrade, that's going to haunt you on a lot of pieces of plastic.
If I don't have a lot of history in this and I don't have a lot of education, I have a lot of time. Most of my cars that people see, that come through, or I haven't owned a vehicle that had a lot of plastic, but now I do. How do I know? How do I know when it's crossed that in a
I'm telling you,
sense?
I let's just say I have black fenders, black plastics. I see gray. I'm in the dye world. I mean, because now I've already seen the degrading. A lot of people wait until they see the stuff turn white. Okay, guys, that's obvious to everybody. But I start to see black turning into that grayish color. It takes 5 seconds to lay some dye. I mean, it's such an easy process. We showed it. It takes no time at all. Why not? And look, you can use trim paint. You can use, out of an aerosol can. You can use the dye that's on an applicator.
Mhm.
You can use whatever you want. I'm not going to sit. I think all that stuff works the same. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of that stuff comes out of black shoe polish. Is basically what it is. I mean, let's call it what it is at this point in time. But I really want people to understand I have seen over the years somebody brings me a piece of plastic. We go to wash the car. The plastic's burnt, and I see the plastic beading, and I go, "Uh oh, we got a problem." And I go and I just try to lay trim dye on it, and I see it reject it, and I call the customer and say, "We're buying new plastics." Well, what happened? Who'd you have fix these plastics? Well, so and so, and he used this ceramic coating, and I go, doesn't even matter the brand of ceramic at this point. Ceramic, once it gets into that plastic, you are not going to be able to re-dye it. So that is, you and I have fooled around with dye and ceramic in our trim line. And every time I go, this has a limit. When you're talking about damage, you got to take your I want to be quick hat off and go, what does it take to do it right? And then I don't get into a problem. And that's where people really just mistake. The wipes and the cubes and the infused in the bottle, that shit works great when everything's great. The minute it's not, that stuff will haunt you because I've heard of a lot of detailers replacing plastics and they go, I didn't do anything wrong, but you did.
Hmm.
Your process was wrong. You didn't understand the product. You didn't understand the ramifications. I've made those types of mistakes, and it falls on you because you didn't know. And especially if you're at home and you're trying to get one of these quick solutions, go to our trim dye and coating video on that Wrangler. I mean, it's a relaxing process. I mean, I don't really see why you'd even do anything else, to be honest.
Well, actually, and there's people want to talk about ASMR or are getting like those feelings, right? Like, man, redying trim and redo it, like
Yeah.
making it look great. Wow, how satisfying is that?
Yeah, like you can do this. When I say like you can re-dye and protect trim, even on something that has a lot of plastic like a Wrangler, it doesn't take long.
No.
And it's not like labor intensive. You're just kind of like putting some things on an applicator, spreading it evenly. You let it sit for a day or two, then you come back and you wipe the excess that's still hanging around. Then you lay some. I mean, this isn't like I'm telling you take your wheel off and get in every little nook and cranny and it's dirty, filthy. I mean, put some gloves on and you're good. Like it's not that big a deal.
No. All right, so those were all comments and questions and different things in other groups. There's a couple things inside of our hyperclean specialist group on Facebook we need to bring to light. First of all, we love Dale's post. Dale's a very outgoing, fun guy.
Yeah.
That and I need to bring up to you and some of the admins. I did see where Dale was talking about like something got. I saw some old photos of Dale that got blocked by AI or something, and it was
Yeah,
like had to improve them.
AI is real heavy. Even though we've turned it all off, I want people to know if you're seeing something weird on one of your posts, just contact us. I can promise you, if we ever have to delete a post, we'll write you a message of why we deleted it. Dale put something up. I think it was a red F-150. I saw the post, I believe, and I think I even commented on it. And then the next day it was gone. We went back through the history of the group where you can see all the actions. Nothing was deleted. So
No,
it's
but
just a
now it's
weird
over
thing.
in this approved category. And I saw there was like 20 something things that needed to be approved. And I was like, what? When did this
Yeah,
happen?
no, that
That's
is
all
it's
AI,
just
isn't
a
it?
it's just an AI
Mm.
weird. We don't have any of that stuff on, guys. We trust everybody in the group. Right now it's just a really silly time, and I just think Facebook. You want to talk about a thing that needs a facelift? Like, does any platform need help like Facebook and Instagram of just like fixing the bugs at this point?
Yeah. I don't know, but he makes some really great posts. One was
Yeah,
I think you were talking about the F-150 that had water spots, right? He
yeah,
was talking about that. Customer had drove, right, the other side of Virginia to buy it. Right. So
yeah.
there's
It's
people, and this
awesome.
is what the best part of that specialist group is, people out buying things they really love. Cars. We love cars too. It's why we're in the industry. I might
Yeah,
not know everything about a car, but I love them. I
yeah,
love the fact that you can turn the key and go drive somewhere. Right?
yeah. I
That's
hear
my
you.
favorite part of it. He made a post, and this was the coolest one, right? Like, this guy had gone to other detailers. Nobody could solve his problem, but he used Fuego, and within moments, this customer's problem was solved. That was awesome. That rust. Walk
Yeah.
us through that. What happened?
Yeah, so I don't really remember the post, but they essentially have like a rust stained white car. It looked like, was it something from like a sprinkler,
I think so. You're right.
system or something like that, just rusty pipes.
We have here where people are on well water. You get
Yeah,
that
there
a
you
lot of
go.
times, or people, they'll use city water for drinking, but you'll use well water for sprinklers.
Yeah, so one of the things that happened from the looks of it, and Dale would know better, but go check his post out in Specialist if you guys haven't seen it. It's fantastic. Uh, is that they just basically had a white car that half of the car was basically rust colored,
Hmm.
from this rust sitting on the surface. I don't know if the customer didn't get it handled quick enough and it sat. I don't know. Okay. But that now half the car's white, half the car's rust colored. They go to a detailer, maybe multiple detailers. I'm guessing the detailers tried to just wash it off, didn't wash off. Dale understands, hey, you know what's going to interact with rust? Fuego. And he started spraying it and it's gone. Because sometimes guys, and this is Dale's superpower in his market. He's taken the time to learn about our chemicals, therefore being able to solve a problem with a chemical. The one thing I see could be Facebook groups, could be questions that we get, could be anything. There seems to be two people in our industry. This could be consumer or professional, doesn't matter, but there's two people. One person that takes the time to learn about the chemicals they're using, and the second person that thinks they know how everything works but gets it all wrong. There's only right and wrong in the chemical world. There's ways that acid works and things that acid works on. There's things that alkaline works on and acid does not, right? There's things in formulas that help you do your job better and also make your life easier. I'm sure Dale didn't have to work very hard other than spraying it on the surface and rinsing it off while these other guys are using elbow grease and probably trying to get it off. Dale's like, no, I got that. Let me go ahead and spray the right chemical. And in that instance, the chemical knowledge solved the customer's problem and made Dale's life easy. But those are the two things I see. I see complete confusion out there. We have this conversation all the time. Go into groups and see a bunch of know nothings talk about an SDS sheet.
Wasn't I was watching something earlier, and it was a group I kind of enjoyed being in. But then this guy was doing this whole video, and he was standing there telling people how you could make this product that somebody else made. And he was like, look, see, I got the SDS right here. And he was like trying to show people how to use the
Yeah.
SDS to make somebody's product. And I'm like, oh, you
Yeah, and we
really,
we can just tell
come on,
you,
man.
and we want to keep reiterating this. That is a surefire way of someone not know of you identifying someone that doesn't know what they're talking about.
Bingo.
An SDS sheet is about harmful chemicals in the shipping process in case they get spilled or something happens to them, or you as a user get some in your eye or whatever, or you ingest some or whatever. Okay. It's about the dangerous chemicals realistically. And let me also tell you something. There's a lot of SDS sheets that don't have any of the
Yeah,
chemicals
right.
that are in that bottle.
Mhm.
It's a
Proprietary.
fact. Okay. It's proprietary. If they're allowed to put proprietary blend on something, nobody's putting their formula on an SDS sheet. Let's say this again because it's so important. The thing people need to realize is that if the SDS sheet told you the formula, nobody would be in the chemical business. You'd have no toothpaste, you have no deodorant, you'd have no shampoo, there'd be no reason. Everyone would just make their own stuff and there'd be no way to actually run a business. So an SDS sheet is a very loose government regulation that, let me tell you something, nobody checks into. Nobody checks into an SDS sheet from the government. It's like your organic produce. Do you think there's just people seeing every strawberry picked? You don't know what you're talking about. And again, it's a surefire way of trying to look smart instead of trying to be smart. And we see it all the time. So Dale using the chemical properly solved a problem. Cool to see. If you guys don't see it, that post is insane.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely wildly insane. All right. Ashley asks, has anyone put stack on Uno? She talks about last June, she had installed some Uno. She takes care of this car and then is wondering to know because there's a part of the bumper that she's like, hey, listen, I could probably use some more protection. Can I put stack on top of Uno?
Yes, and matter of fact, I think last week, because we had a few customers doing their normal summer vacation, I think we did stack on 45 total vehicles last week. Some of those vehicles had Uno, some had Dos, some had Trey, and some had Sparta. So absolutely, if your coating is in any type of reasonable shape and you go, hey, I'm running some catless, so my bumper gets beat up because I'm running catless, but the whole car is in great shape. I just have some weak spots. That's why Stack was designed. Doesn't matter if you have Uno on, Trey, Sparta, doesn't matter. So go ahead. That's what the product was for. It's a great question, but yes, that's exactly what you should do.
All right. So Jacob asked this, and this is the wonderful part. Jacob apparently did not use a hyperCLEAN abrasives, and he said he's having a problem and hoping we could help. Right? He used a body style masking tape plastic to tape off because he was compounding with somebody else's product.
Yep.
And now that tape and that plastic has left something
Yeah.
something on the paint. He thought he got it off. He comes back and it's still there.
Yeah, you see this at the body shop world a lot of times. It's just trap moisture. I'd get it out in the sun, give it a few days. Don't go too aggressive. I think it was non-breathable plastic. It looked like, if I remember the post. So you probably have some stuff that's gotten trapped under there. Relax. This is one of those times you want to kind of let the world play out. Get it in some heat. Get it in some sun. Then go back and assess the problem. You should be able to cut out if anything happened, any kind of damage to the clear coat, whatever. But more than likely, you just had some non-breathable plastic. It happens at the body shop quite a bit. If you see stuff come from the car, they tape off half the car, and you see these weird things. Give it a couple days in the heat. Don't go in there and get more aggressive. Okay, that'd be the wrong time to do that. Give it some breathing room, even a week, and then come back and see what you got to do to fix it.
So inside the specialist group, you are going to find some very specific type questions. You're going to see some specific things like Dale talking about. You're going to see this where you're like, hey, maybe this, and it's very specific. This is what we love. You're going to find some really cool stuff from overseas too, right? This Auto Glim Supreme Polish, right? From Andrew. I'd never seen something like that. That's
Auto
something from
Glim's a
another
big like
part of the
European
world.
brand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So everybody go over to the hyperCLEAN specialist group. It's a great place to, whether you want to interact, you want to hang out and just watch, you want to ask a question. It's a great group of people. We're all specialists trying to make, well, whether our cars or other people's cars more enjoyable.
Yep.
Great place to be.
All right, guys. Talk to you soon.